Welcome to lecture 8, and in this lecture we will discuss about the transport in plants. So in today's lecture we will discuss about the transport in plants. We will talk about the water uptake, transpiration and translocation. So these four are the objectives of today's lecture. Firstly, we will discuss about the transport in plants. So we can say that the transport system in plants is mainly made up of xylem vessels and phloem vessels. Now we will discuss the function of these two vessels. So if we talk about the functions of xylem vessels, we can say that the xylem vessels are those vessels that transport the water, mineral ions and solutes from the roots to the leaves of the plant. Phloem vessels. These vessels carry the sugar and other organic nutrients which are made by the plant from the leaves to the rest of the plant. Xylem and phloem vessels are arranged throughout the root, stem and leaves in groups called the vascular bundles. So vascular bundles are those bundles that are formed when xylem and phloem vessels are arranged throughout the root, stem and leaves in the form of groups. So here we can say that this is a plant, and if we talk about the cross section of a leaf, then we can see that here this area is showing the cross section of a leaf, and we can see the xylem tissues in this area, and this area is showing the phloem tissue, and vascular bundle is here, which are formed by xylem and phloem tissues. So this diagram is showing the location of transport or vascular tissues in non-woody dicotyledonous plants. So if we talk about the cross section of the stem of the plant, here this is the stem of the plant, and if we talk about the cross section of a stem, then we can see that here are the phloem tissue which are shown by a yellow shade color, and here we can see the xylem tissues which are shown by a blue color, and this whole area is showing the vascular bundles which consist of xylem and phloem. Similarly, if we talk about the cross section of the root of the plant, then this one is showing the cross section of the root. Here we can see that the xylem tissues and the phloem tissues, and these are showing the root hairs, and we can also see the root cortex cell. So this whole diagram is showing the location of transport or vascular tissues in non-woody or dicotyledonous plants. So now we will discuss about the water uptake. Root hair cells. Root hair cells are single called extensions of epidermis cells in the roots. Water enters the root hair cell by the process of osmosis. This happens because soil water has a higher water potential than the cytoplasm of the root hair cells. What are the functions of root hair cells? So if we talk about the function, then we can say that root hair cells grow between the soil particles and absorb the water and minerals from the soil. The root hair cells increases the surface area of the cells significantly. So this large surface area is important because it increases the rate of absorption of water by osmosis and mineral ions by active transport. So we can say that the root hair cell increases the surface area, and the large surface area is very important because it increases the rate of absorption of water by osmosis and also the mineral ions uptake by active transport. So this diagram is showing the structure of the root. This is an enlarged image of the root, cross section of the root. So here we can see that these are the root hair cells, and if we talk about the cross section of the roots of the plant, then we can see the cortex cells, phloem and xylem. So this is the structure of the root, which consists of cortex cells, phloem and xylem and root hair cells. What is the pathway of water through a plant? So osmosis causes the water to pass into the root hair cells through the root cortex and into the xylem vessels. So these arrows are showing the movement of water molecules by osmosis. So here we can see that the root hair cells, this blue area is showing the water surrounded by the soil particles, and the small particles are the soil particles, and this is the lower water potential in the root hair cells, and here it is the higher water potential in the soil. So these areas are showing the movement of water molecules by the process of osmosis. So we can see that the osmosis is causing water to pass into the root hair cells through the root cortex cells into the xylem vessels. So once the water gets into the xylem, it is carried up to the leaves where it enters the mesophyll cells. So the pathway of water is from root hair cells to the root cortex cells to xylem and then leaf mesophyll cells. As in this diagram, we can see that here is the root hair cells and here is the root cortex cells, and there are the xylem vessels. So the pathway of water is from root hair cells to the root cortex cells to the xylem vessels, and then from xylem vessels to leaf mesophyll cells. Now we will talk about the investigation by using a suitable stain. So the pathway can be investigated by placing a plant into a beaker of water that has had a stain added to it. The stain may be a food color. After a few hours, you can see the leaves of the plant turning the same color as the dyed water, proving that the water is being taken up by the plant. So if the cross section is cut out, only certain areas of the stalk is stained the color of the water, showing that the water is being carried in the specific vessels to the stem. These are the xylem vessels. So this diagram is showing the investigation. So here are the three plants, and we have left all these three plants in sunlight for several hours. This is the plant that is placed in water, and this plant is placed in red food dye, and this one is placed in blue food dye. So after several hours, we cut out the cross section of the stalks using a scalpel or white tile to observe the vascular tissues. So after observation, the results, we can see that there is no stain, so we cannot identify the xylem vessels, and in both these we can observe that only xylem vessels in the vascular tissue show the dyed or stain. So this investigation has proved. Now we will talk about the transpiration. So transpiration is the loss of water vapors from the plant leaves by the evaporation of water at the surface of mesophyll cells, followed by the diffusion of water vapors through the stomata of the plant. So water evaporates from the leaves and causes a kind of suction. So suction pulls the water up to the stem. So the water travels up the xylem vessels in the vascular bundles, and this flow of water is known as transpiration stream. So the water travels from the roots to the stem and then to the leaves. Now we will discuss about the mechanism of water movement through the plant. Transpiration continuously removes the water from the leaf. So the water is constantly being taken from the top of the xylem vessels to supply the cells in the leaves. This process reduces the effective pressure at the top of the xylem vessels. So this creates a transpiration stream or pull. So transpiration stream or pull the water up. So water molecules have a strong tendency to stick together. This is called cohesion. When the water is pulled up the xylem vessels, the whole column of the water stays together. So roots also produce a root pressure forcing water up the xylem vessels. So it is the mechanism of water movement through a plant. So this diagram is showing the transpiration in the plant. Here the arrows are showing the movement of water. We can see the xylem vessels here and spongy mesophyll cells. This area is showing the stomata which are open, and these are the guard cells. So here this process is showing that evaporation of water molecules from the surface of mesophyll cells to the air spaces. So here we can see that evaporation of water molecules from the surface of mesophyll cells to the air space, and this area is showing the diffusion of water vapors out of the stomata when there is a concentration gradient. So this whole diagram is showing the transpiration in the plant. These arrows are showing the movement of water from the xylem vessels to the spongy mesophyll cells. Now we will describe a phenomena which is known as wilting. So we will discuss about the wilting. What is wilting? If more water evaporates from the leaves of a plant than is available in the soil to move into the root by the osmosis, this phenomena is known as wilting. So wilting is a phenomena when more water evaporates from the leaves of a plant than is available in the soil to move into the roots by the osmosis. So in the process of wilting, all the cells of the plants are not full of the water because of the increased evaporation of water. So the strength of the cell wall cannot support the plant and the plant starts to collapse. As in this diagram we can see that here is the healthy plant and it is the wilted plant. Now we will discuss about the factors that affect the transpiration rate. So there are two main factors, which are temperature and humidity. So by increasing the temperature, the kinetic energy of the water molecules increases, so they diffuses faster. So we can say that if temperature is increased, then the rate of transpiration also increased, because the kinetic energy of water molecules increases and they diffuse faster. So in the case of humidity, if humidity is reduced, then the concentration of water molecules outside the leaf is also reduced. So steeper concentration gradient for the diffusion. So if we decrease the humidity, then the rate of transpiration increases. But if we increase the temperature, the rate of transpiration also increases. So now we will discuss about translocation. What is translocation? So translocation is the movement of sucrose and amino acids in the phloem from the region of production, which is known as the source, to the region of storage, or the regions where they are used in respiration or growth, which is known as sink. This process is known as translocation. So translocation is the movement of sucrose and amino acids in the phloem from source to the sink. What is source and what is sink? So source is the region of production, while the sink is the region of storage, or where they are used in the respiration or growth. So this is the movement of sucrose and amino acids in the phloem tubes of the plant. Glucose is very important as it makes many other important nutrients. For example, glucose is used to make sucrose. Sucrose then enters the phloem, and the phloem then transports the sucrose all across the leaf where it can be used of. So in this diagram, this is the growing part of the plant, which is known as sink. And if we talk about the cross section of the stem, we can see the phloem tissues and xylem tissues. And here is the source of the sucrose plus amino acids, and photosynthesis is happening in the leaf. And these arrows are showing the movement of sucrose and amino acids. So here we can see that the movement of sucrose and amino acids. So some parts of the plant may act as a source and sink at the different times during the plant life. So we can say that the some parts of the plants act as source and sink at different times. For example, if we take the example of leaves, then leaves are the source most of the time, but they can also act as sink in the periods of growth. For example, after autumn season, when plants grow their leaves again, so they become sink. So this diagram is showing the source and sink. Here we can see that the leaves of the plants are acting as a source, and here the roots of the plant are sink. But in this diagram we can see that here the leaves are acting as sink under certain conditions, and here the roots are the source because they are storing the sugars of the roots. So stored sugars of the roots are the source. Now we will discuss about the comparison between xylem and phloem tissues. So this diagram is showing the xylem. What is moved? So xylem moved the water and mineral ions, and transpiration stream is the process, and direction of flow is one way from the roots to the leaves, and cells are dead. While in the case of phloem, sucrose and amino acids are moved through the process of translocation, and direction of flow is in all direction, and cells are living. So that's all about the lecture. Thank you.